Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's show. Welcome to Advocate Information Highway. I'm your host, Anthony Lorito-Duke. And we have an interesting topic for today's show, in which it is people who procrastinate on dealing with issues. And I was just speaking about this on my show, Disabled Reality, on Spreaker.com. And I thought that this was a really good topic to be continuing into this show. And um, you know, I understand because like we're all human, we all done this. If uh certain issues like little like that are really, really small issues, um sometimes we procrastinate on dealing with them, like we sweep them under the rug for, or turn the other cheek to it, or we want to deal with it on another day or whatever. We all do that, and yes, those small issues can eventually turn into bigger issues, you know. But here's the other thing. If we're already faced with a really big, important issue already in front of us, we cannot procrastinate on dealing with that issue. Okay, it has to be faced right then, right there. It's got to be done. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. For many, many years, we've been having a border problem in this country, right? We have a broken border system. There's no denying it, ladies and gentlemen. You can't deny it. It's a fact, right? So um, that issue uh, has grown into a bigger problem now, and in which, because there's been states like Texas and Florida that have been dealing with it for many years. They've been dealing with and a huge influx of immigrants and stuff, and it's been a really big problem for them. And that's why now, like, you have the governors of Florida and Texas that have been shipping immigrants to other states that are Democratic states. Because, states like Texas and Florida are Republican states, and which, like I said, they're shipping immigrants to Democratic states like New York, Washington, and so on and so forth. And now there's been a big influx of immigrants, coming into like New York City, and it's become a big problem now. And even New York City Mayor Eric Adams has stipulated that because of this influx of immigrants being shipped into New York, especially to New York City, um, New York City is now in a state of emergency. Okay. And there's already been a housing problem in New York City that's been going on for years and years. And now with the added influx of immigrations coming into New York City, um, now, like I said, Mayor Eric Adams has called New York City a state of emergency, and he's looking for aid from New York State and the federal government as well. And the reason why the governors of the Republican states of Florida and Texas, the reason why they have been busing these immigrants uh, to states like New York and stuff is because of the fact that, um, uh, well, they want President Biden to face up to fixing the broken border issues that we have in this country, and they figured the only way to do it is to show Democratic states, hey, listen, we're going to ship them to you. Now now you guys are going to know what we go through. And then now President Biden will have no other choice but to face and fix the broken border situation that we have. So, and they did this just at the time of elections, because next month in November we have our uh, elections and stuff. So that's why they waited to do this, and they did it deliberately. They did it deliberately within the election time period. So, um, it's nice to be nice, and I understand that. And that, a lot of democratic states are sanctuary states. But like I've said it many, many times, ladies and gentlemen. I've said it in so many other episodes. We do not have endless amount of resources. We do not have endless amount of land and so on and so forth. And now that there is a state of emergency in New York City, and I've spoken with the mayor's office about this, and I said basically, and unfortunately now we're at a point to where ICE is going to have to be called in, and there's going to have to be a lot of deportations now. Many of the immigrants are going to have to be drafted into our military. We might be able to house some of the immigrants, um, but but even the mayor's office, even in prior New York City mayor administrations, they've ignored and they've procrastinated on facing the fact that the rules and regulations for New York City stipulate there could be only a certain amount of people who can live in certain apartments and stuff, and they didn't want to face this. And there's a lot of people, even a few years ago, I read an article in I forgot what newspaper it was, and I forgot about which borough it was in, but there was it was in one of the five boroughs in New York City, in which there was an apartment fire, and a lot of people couldn't get out of that fire. They could not make it out alive because of the fact that the apartment was overcrowded. You can't have things in the hallway. You can't have overcrowded apartments because of the fact it's a fire safety hazard. Now, like I said, I understand that there's a housing problem in New York City. I completely understand that. you know. And even Mayor Eric Adams stipulated that, there's certain areas within the five boroughs of New York City in which a lot of people are saying you cannot build up low-income housing in our areas. We do not want that in our backyard. No, no, no. But yet these are the same people that are complaining about the fact that there is a homeless problem in New York City. You can't have it both ways, ladies and gentlemen. New York City Mayor Eric Adams is absolutely right. People can't have it both ways. It's one or the other. And now that there is a state of emergency, the government has no other choice but to build low-income housing in areas where people who don't want low-income housing in their backyard, so to speak. Too bad. They have to build up low-income housing. They have to do it. That's it. End of story. They got to do it. Too bad. And that's that. And like I said, at the same time, President Biden has to face and has to tackle the broken border system that we have. There is no other choice, ladies and gentlemen. Because like I said, New York City mayor has stipulated that New York City is in a state of emergency because of the influx of immigrants being shipped to New York City now. New York City is in a state of emergency. That's it. There is no other choice. It's got to be faced. And even New York City mayor said, this has to be faced fast. Can't procrastinate on it. And that he requested aid from New York State and from the federal government in Washington, D.C. And it's got to be dealt with. There is no other choice now. There is no other choice. ICE is going to have to be called in, and a lot of these immigrants are going to have to be deported. Maybe a lot of these immigrants can be drafted into our military. Maybe we can house some of these immigrants, you know. But a state of emergency, it means just that. It's an emergency now. So maybe they'll build up housing in areas where people didn't want low income housing built up in their backyard, so to speak. And the government can just say now, hey, listen, we're in a state of emergency, tough shit, too bad. But at the same time, if you're going to build up these low income housing, you got to work together with the people in the area and say, listen, because one of the problems that the people stipulated is that they fear that there's going to be a lot more of crime and drugs and stuff like that coming from the low income housing. And also the second problem that the people in these areas uh, are saying is that the low income housing will bring down the value of their homes, and so on and so forth. So they got to work together with the people in the area as well. It can't just be one sided. It can't be bullying like that. So you got to work together with the people. You got to say, hey, listen, we're going to have uh, um, major security with these low income housing. We're going to work together with you. We're going to work together with the police departments, to make it a safe place. We will work together. We'll set strict rules and regulations and enforce them. So it's got to be done. If you're going to do it, you got to do it the right way. That's it, plain and simple. Okay. And then, tell these people in the community, hey, listen, we understand about the value of your home. And they're right about that. They are right about it, plain and simple. You got to work together with them and say, listen, we'll make it to where the value of your home will not deteriorate because of the low income housing. Simple. You got to do it. You got to do it for them. So that's really about that. And I understand that, with the elections right around the corner just next month, both major parties want to really impress their bases. Okay. They want to impress them, and that's understandable. That's the way it's always been. And they don't want to insult their bases. They don't want to um, uh, have their bases look at them in a negative way. So I understand all that, but an emergency is just that, an emergency. Plain and simple. When you have an emergency, um, you got to take certain measures that may not that the bases may not like. But it's an emergency. It's an emergency. There is no other choice. So, but anyways, I want to remind all my fans out there that who are watching this show on YouTube, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button. That would be greatly appreciated. And I also wanted to remind all my fans out there about the business that my husband and I have together called AWLDNY. The link to there is awldny.com. You guys can check out all the products on there. All the products that you see on there, we actually make ourselves. I also wanted to remind all my fans out there about my other business, my other website that I have called Advocate Information Highway. The link to there is AIHNY.com. Again, that's AIHNY.com. And you guys can check out all the pages on there. On the homepage of my website of Advocate Information Highway, you'll see the link to my internet store on Zazzle.com, in which I designed a lot of products and they're up for sale on there. Also on the homepage of my website of Advocate Information Highway, you'll see the links to the 2 books that I wrote. And if you guys follow those links, you could check out and purchase both of my books as well. And so with that, take care, everybody. Bye.